Hey guys, it's Al from Altruistic Channel. I just want to touch base. I'm actually working on finalizing some thoughts in case I ever have to do like a guest lecture on how I came to this amazing business model that I've created here with this hybrid. And I was thinking about it, and I was trying to streamline it to make it a little bit easier to digest. But I have one of those brains that just is. I write for the top 2% of the world, and I don't ever feel the need to dumb it down for anybody. I think that that's insulting to most people. But what I wanted to touch base with is that I realized something interesting. I'm starting to feel a little bit better from my infection, but what I started to realize is that sometimes the way that our lives play out is very indicative of the way that we just think in general, and it lends itself to understanding that we do kind of create what we encounter, because as I've been working on the model, no matter what I do, it still comes out in Alanese, as I call it, in my the way I speak, and I realized that that's not just a bad thing. That's also a great thing. You see, I'm the only brain that can process this business model in this way because I'm the only one that could literally have experienced my life the way it played out. And it makes for a very unique perspective. And when you're trying to do something lofty like change the way that we perceive the idea of perception itself, you can get lost in the verbiage. But because of the way that I process information, and because I'm an INTJ personality, so because I do overanalyze every detail of every day of my life, it puts me in a better perspective to communicate more effectively what it is at at the cellular level, if you will, of a problem, as opposed to getting bogged down with all of the layers to it. I can just basically put it in words that is easy for us to understand, and it works. But it's based on the fact that I had to live my life that way, and I had to learn my process the way I had to learn it in order to see it in the way that I see it. And so it's just very fascinating, and I wanted to share that with the leaders out there. There's so much attention in this idea behind us having to conform to being more of a strategy leader or more of a democratic leader, and all these different branding titles that really don't amount to much difference, because at the end of the day a leader is still going to follow their gut instinct. And so whether or not they are prone to one personality a type or one archetype more so than another is almost irrelevant, because at the end of the day they still would make the call that needs to be made that separates them from the mass. And so I just find it very interesting that sometimes it's a double-edged sword. In great moments of clarity, when you're not feeling well, like I'm not, and when I'm sitting there and I'm in pain and all this stuff, the clarity comes a little bit quicker, more quickly to me, I believe. But in the end, I couldn't help but feel blessed that my weird brain processes information the way it does, because no one will ever be able to make this model work beside me. And it makes me invaluable, and more to the point, it also just makes me feel a hell of a lot more relaxed, because as I finally have put it all to paper, it works on literally duality. Every principle of everything that my model does is working in opposition of itself, and it's natural, it's organic, and it's fascinating. When you guys see the model, if you ever hear the lecture that I have planned for this, you're going to be kind of blown away, because of the fact that I didn't do anything. It literally is, for example, I'm dealing with social reform, and part of my enterprise is that it immediately gives back to social reform. And so the duality of all of that, it keeps happening over and over again throughout the entire process. And it's very interesting because it's playing out in a way that I didn't necessarily see. And so it's almost it lends itself to that idea that everything in its due time, because in due time you will be able to see everything in the subject matter. And so I am way more empowered than I was even yesterday, because I own it. I own this space, and I own it in a way that I guess I needed to see for myself. And so I just wanted to share that with everybody. I don't know if anybody will find this interesting or not, but as a leader, I know that it's not my first time having encountered this. It's kind of the same principle when I realized that deja vu isn't deja vu the way that we think of it. That's a perception thing, because if we assume that deja vu is us reliving something that we've already experienced before in a dream or whatnot, then it wouldn't make us react. It would just make us go, oh, okay, we did that. But what makes us tingle in my belief system is that we are making a conscious choice that alters whatever it is that we've done before. And that's why we get that weird tingly deja vu feeling. But those are all things that we come across as leaders in the world, and things that we, truths for ourselves that don't have to be, true for anybody else. There's this whole subconscious thing, or this whole conscious effort to make millennials think the way that we think, or to make the exennials think the way that my parents thought. And I don't. I can't. I'm not that hypocritical. I can't do it. But I can see where both sides of the fence here. I can see why we need to kind of meet in the middle. But at the end of the day, it's the individuality that we want. That's what we're craving. Is the ideas that are going to create change, not the ideas that are conforming that make us stay the same. And that's all I wanted to say for L for Altruistic Channel. I hope that finds you well. I don't know if anybody's ever going to see this, but it's part of what the channel is all about. Is about wisdom for leaders and developing the right skill sets for us all. And as we move into this collective consciousness, it's getting more and more apparent that there's some rough times ahead, but we can get through it. And it's going to be because of our individuality while working as a team. There you go. It's Al for Altruistic Channel. Have a great night. Bye. Have you made a mistake today?